Here I'll use QCLogic to assess these files based on the flow rate, fluorescence signal over time, and the metadata. I'll start with a metadata check. This will assess the compensation matrix, voltages, flow rate, and other attributes. I'll select the files, tick Build Report Only, and click Execute. And here we can see that the files are very similar and differ only slightly in their flow rate. The flow rate is also added to the file inspector. It's useful to know that the on-screen report displays differences from the first selected file in the list. Now I'll compare the metadata between two different samples, and here you can see that the parameter labels are slightly different. In some cases, the inclusion of a hyphen is enough to flag these differences. And now I'll assess two very different files, and you can see in the report the PMT voltages differ in a number of parameters, and these parameters are listed here in the file inspector so you can directly compare all of the values. I'll now assess the flow rate of the first three samples by ticking flow rate, using the default settings of the median and 20% above and below the average. I'll deselect Build Report Only, which will mean that the extracted populations will be added to the file inspector effectively as subpopulations. By selecting Display Plots, the original dataset and the extracted dataset are displayed in the workspace, and we can also see the percentage of events that were extracted, both in the file inspector and in the automatically generated report. The QCLogic report can also be exported as a text file. Now I'll assess the fluorescence signal over time for this first sample. Again, I'll choose a type of average, being the median, and I'll set much tighter constraints for the collection range. I'll click Execute, and then you can see the report is generated and also the plots are displayed. In this case, I'll choose a fluorescence parameter on the y-axis and leave time on the x, and you can see the few events in this parameter that have been excluded. Importantly, you can perform the flow rate and fluorescence signal assessment on any of the populations, not just the full data set. So here I can perform a flow rate assessment, and then on the resulting extraction perform a fluorescence assessment. In the QCLogic report, the percentage parent for the extracted population is displayed, but you can also check the percentage of total in the file inspector.